सदा स्मरामि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहंसगतिं तुरीयं यस्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः. I always meditate within my heart on the self-effulgent Atman, the existence, knowledge, bliss absolute, the goal of the great ascetics, the transcendent and the eternal, who is beyond the state of waking, dream, and deep sleep. I am verily that indivisible Brahman, and not a combination of material elements. We are studying Atmabodha, self-knowledge. This is the path of knowledge. This is the true enlightenment. There are many paths, but this is exclusively path of reasoning. And before going to the subject, I always try to remind you some of the definitions. What's the definition of a reality? Reality is that which is not subject to modification or change, that which remains constant in all the three phases of time. And what's ignorance? Ignorance is something which does not allow definition. It's indescribable. At the same time, it has the three gunas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, many of you know very well. And it is very positive something. And it is antagonistic to knowledge. It is positive something because we feel its presence throughout the world. Our body, mind, everything is a product of it. So we cannot deny it. But at the same time, it is not eternal because with the dawn of knowledge, the ignorance disappears. These are some of the points you need to remember. And superimposition is a very important point in Advaita Vedanta. Superimposition is if something is superimposed on the reality for the time being, under the favorable conditions, it hides the reality and projects something else, which we may be facing it, seeing it, or out of memory. The classic example is the rope and the snake. Rope is a reality, but somehow we take it as snake. We perceive snake in it under a favorable conditions of in the twilight, not fully bright, not fully dark. At such times, we tend to see the unreal on the real. This is superimposition. These are the few points we need to remember when we study Jnana Yoga. The first 23, verse number 23. In the last class, we studied about Sri Shankara taught us how to reason. He gave a beautiful example. Just as the grain of rice has the hard bran outside and the husk within, so one need to pound the rice in order to grain in order to get the rice. So in order to get the truth, we need to discriminate and negate all these things. And now, in order to discriminate from the real and the unreal, even to know what is unreal, we need to have some idea of real. Only then we can think this is real and that is unreal. So if until and unless we have some grasp of reality, we can never know what is unreal or real. We can easily take up unreal for the real. That's what we are doing. The whole world does. So the scriptures teach us what reality is through the words of the sages. We call them aptas. They are our really who care for us, who have jotted down their transcendental experiences. So they are really our true friends. They are called as. From them, we learn the nature of the truth. So here, the nature of the Atman is being explained. Prakasho arkasuryasto surya prakasho arkasyato yasya shaityam agner yatoshnata swabhava satchidananda nitya nirmalatatmanah. Prakasho arkasya. The nature here. Prakasha means luminosity. Arka is sun. The luminosity of the sun is, nature of sun is luminosity. And the coolness of water. And the heat of fire. So also, in the same way, the nature of Atman is eternity, purity, reality, consciousness, and bliss. So beautifully, you get the definition. What's the definition of reality? Sat Chit Ananda. You know, Sat, existence, pure existence, Chit, pure consciousness, awareness, and Ananda, bliss, unalloyed bliss. And two more, eternity and purity. That which is eternal is always pure, because that which is eternal is never subject to modification, and it is simple and pure. So eternity, purity, reality, consciousness, bliss, these are the definitions of Atman, our true nature. So it becomes very easy, very clear for us to, this is the standard. Anything does not comply with this, or it's like a touchstone. You have to judge everything on this. If this doesn't agree with what, then clearly we reject it as unreal. So this is the touchstone line. Sure. Oh, acha. Okay. So how do I know that the Atmaness, existence, consciousness, bliss? If I'm happy, I'm happy, so I can think, oh, Atman is bliss, that is why I'm blissful. Or Atman is knowledge itself. So my knowledge, my happiness, I can attribute to the Atman. This sort of confusion takes place. That is why here we need to, it's subtle difference, very subtle discrimination has to be applied. For example, in the last class we studied, paddy. Paddy has a hard skin out. It's very easy to remove it. But within that, it has the brown skin. It's very hard to remove. In the same way, we all can deny the body, knowing that it's always subject to change. The body which we had it in birth is not there now. It has grown. So anything that grows, changes, is not real, so we can easily. But what about the mind and intellect? The more it becomes subtle, the more it becomes very difficult to discriminate. So hence, all alertness. Atmana satchidam shascha buddhe vrittiriti dvayam samyujya cha vivekena janamiti pravartate. Such a notion as I know is produced by the union due to non-discrimination of a modification of the mind with two aspects of Atman, namely existence and consciousness. So only two is mentioned, it's a figuratively it is mentioned, because existence, consciousness, and bliss is, it's one and the same. It's not any quality of the Atman, it's the very nature. Where there is existence, conscious it. That which is existence is consciousness, and that which is consciousness is absolute bliss. They are not three different compartments. They are the aspects, three aspects of same reality. To the non-discriminating person, the thought and the self gets mixed. And then we get the notion, oh, I know. Knowing is a limitation. Sat's limitation is knowledge. And bliss limitation is joy. Life, light, love are the limitations of existence, consciousness, and bliss. This is how, due to non-discrimination, because that subtlety of the mind is not there, hence we mix up. And we say, oh, I know. Knowing and not knowing, both. So, modifications of the mind. What is the modification of the mind? We know Brahman plus nescience. As I told you, always I tell you, ignorance is not illiteracy or not knowing something. Ignorance is something positive. In Vedanta, ignorance means nature, which is time, space, causality. These are nature. This is ignorance. And everything comes out of that. The whole universe, the whole matter, the whole cosmos, everything is a modification of this reality or prakriti. So mind is a modification. So it comes within time, space, and reality is eternal, beyond time, beyond space. If that reality is not substratum, the mind can never function. There is no mind. We can't even perceive the unreal. To perceive unreality, there should be reality. It's a very subtle Vedantic argument, thought. Even for the unreal to exist, there should be reality. If there is no rope, there's no question of snake at all. We will never be afraid of. We will never mistake. There's no rope, there is no snake. It's only when the rope is there and when conditions are favorable, only then we have this erroneous perception of snake. The same thing here, the mind, the modification of the mind and the Atman, both together gives this notion as I know, I'm happy, I exist. Such things come, and we attribute this to the Atman. The self is entirely separate. Yeah, our famous example has come. But oh, sorry. Atmano vikriya nasti buddhir bodho na jatviti jivas sarvamalam nyatva nyata drashteti muhyati. Atma never undergoes change. And the buddhi is never endowed with consciousness. But man believes Atman to be identical with the buddhi and falls under such delusions as that he is the seer, the knower. Here it's very clearly mentioned. Atman is infinite, non-dual. That which is non-dual, infinite, can never change. Because one reality, one without the second, other than that. So there can never be any modification attributes or the movement or the change, nothing. It's the pure witness. And buddhi is the modification. As I told you, the mind, the buddhi the undifferentiated nature, and its evolutes are buddhi, mind, body, senses, sense objects, and the gross world, the whole. So these are the modifications of the Prakriti. Buddhi comes under the range of time, space, and causation. The Atman is beyond it. So we foolishly, we think, we believe that good buddhi can be bad, buddhi can direct me to something wrong, and then I suffer. That is what is happening. We say, good natured man, good person, good buddhi. And this is a bad natured man, bad buddhi, which means buddhi is contaminated. It has become the tail end of the senses. It's going out, going out, going out, going. And now we are trying to, through all these reasons, we are coming back to our source. This is the process of reasoning, process of purifying the intellect. And this is the same example of the other. See, the buddhi hides the Atma. Just like a cloud, a piece of cloud hides the sun, and the buddhi hides the Atman. And how did the cloud come in? How did the cloud come? The sun itself is the cause for the cloud. The sun itself is the cause for the cloud. It draws the vapors, and then that becomes cloud, and it hides. In the same way, buddhi is, though the product of nature, it hides the Atman. Yes, buddhi can hide. It's finite, but it is closing. There's a beautiful song of Girish Chandra Ghosh describing Swamiji. Ravikara kashita kujjati ghana avare dinakara kanti. Ravikara means Ravi is Surya. He draws the water vapors, and big thick clouds are formed. You know, when it's a very hot day, we know, oh, there will be a thunderstorm. We know it. When the temperature rises high, we know there will be a thunderstorm. How? All the vapors are taken back, it goes, and thick dark clouds form, and the rain shower. And these clouds, what happened? Then we say, there's no sun. The sun is covered. How could the sun be covered? It itself draws. In the same way, this buddhi hides the ever existent, infinite consciousness. Just a piece of buddhi, a small buddhi, individual buddhis, covers the individual Atman in us. So it is due to lack of discernment that we see it, and then we see, oh, I am the seer, I am the knower. But we are eternal witness. We are the eternal witness. 26. Evam jnatva bhayam vahet naham jiva paratmeti jnatasche nirbhayo bhavet. So rajju sarpavadatmanam jivam jnatva bhayam vahet. The soul regarding itself as a jiva is overcome by fear. Just as a man who regards the rope as a snake. The soul regains fearlessness by realizing that it is not a jiva, but the supreme. Get our individuality, individual Atman. The reflection of the Atman, when it falls on the buddhi or the mind, in the intellect, then you get the notion of I am an individual. This sort of ego comes in. And the moment it comes that I am an individual, so when I am an individual, so there are others. So duality comes. Wherever there is duality, there is fear. Dvitiya advai bhayam. I am there, someone, there is a predator comes. There is someone who's opposing me, someone whom I have to overcome. This sort of things comes. And then from there, all sort of mischief starts. And then again, there is a creator, a punisher who will punish my acts. Such sorts of ideas coming. So the fear of God also comes due to this duality. When you know that you are the only one reality, absolutely there is nothing else. To whom to fear? Tatra mukho moha kashoka. Where is the fear? Where is the misery? Ekatvam anupashyata. We read in the Isha Upanishad, isn't it? When one sees one non-dual reality, one overcomes fear. So, and it's only in Vedanta that this epithet called abhayam, fearlessness. Fearlessness is supreme reality itself. Abhayam. When Janaka, King Janaka, went to study and realized his infinite nature, then the teacher tells him, Abhayam vai praptosi Janaka. Oh Janaka, verily you have attained fearlessness. When there is none other than me, either to feel jealous or to feel hatred or to overcome somebody, all this vanishes and one infant. And once we realize our true nature, non-dual nature, then I am in you, I am in her, I am in him, and everybody. So that sort of connectivity, feeling of oneness comes, and only then true service, true love can be. Otherwise, it's all lip. Everything is lip. When I can really, we can make out very well. Neighbors are suffering. We wouldn't bother. Neighboring country is suffering from corona. First, we will keep all our vaccines for us. Then we will think of others. You take it in the higher scales. This is how it happens. We don't care for others. Why? Because I am different from others. This sort of ignorance comes. But once we realize this, even the ideology, the thought, if this sort of ideas are taught to the children from the beginning, then the society would be better, the nations would be better. So everyone will think of progressing their own country without harming other nations. It goes. This may a small Atmabodha we are studying, but things become expanded. It becomes progressive when as the problems increases, it becomes universal problem because we don't have this idea of oneness at all. So once when we realize that we are non-dual self, infinite, immortal, pure, then we become fearless. Fearlessness comes to us. What happens? We give fearlessness to others. Nobody will be afraid of me. That sort of. When you go to saints and sages, what happens? We feel happy. We start loving others also in their atmosphere. We cannot hate others. There's a beautiful place in Shankar Mutt in Karnataka. When Shankaracharya was going, he saw in the forest, I mean, it's not forest, it was a place, it was going hot, South India, very hot. And then if open and try to protect imagine a snake protecting a frog. Frog is the food of the snake. It could have swallowed it. No, instead it protected. So the nature was so good because that was the place where a great ascetic had, a rishi, a sage had illumination, and the vibrations of it was so tangible that even animals were Sringeri Mutt there. So congenial, so even the very entering of that place, your mind calm and you feel friendly, this sort of feeling comes. So that happens then. So that is because if one has realized his oneness, attained fearlessness, and that place becomes a tirtha. In Narada Bhakti Sutra, he says, Tirthi Gurvanti Tirthan. Pilgrimage doesn't come by itself. Somebody have lived the life there. And the ideas are so saturated, the place is so saturated with the ideas that it becomes a place of pilgrimage. And when we go, we absorb our minds. I'm going to Atmabodha buddhyadenindriyanyapi deepo ghataदिवत् swatma jadaistarna vibhasyate. The mind, the sense organs, and so on are illumined by Atman alone, as a jar or a pot by a lamp. But these material objects cannot illumine their own self. The self, the Atman, the divinity, the Atman of the nature of all of us. Hence, our body, mind, everything functions. Just like this light is here, all of us are seeing, I'm able to see this, I'm able to see, everything is illumined. So the Atman, the knowledge, the truth, the reality that is within is illumining my body, my mind, my intellect. The life principle itself is a limitation. As I told you, existence limitation is life, prana. It's an evolute of Prakriti. So all this functions because of that reality behind. The Atman illumines all this, just like the moon borrows the light of the sun and illumines our earth at night. Even so, our body, mind, intellect are illumined by the Atman. Hence, they function. But by themselves, they are not. They cannot. They are dead, dull material. As soon as that reality, the Atman, the soul, vacates the body, somebody is needed to lift that body. Can't. And we boast of. So we need to think in these lines so that will bring a bit of humility in us. So the Atman is the substratum of all this. Only then, when the Atman is there, everything else functions. Swabodho nanya bodhecha bodha rupatayatmanah na deepasyanyanya deepecha yatha swatma prakashane. As a lighted lamp does not need another lamp to manifest its light, so Atman, being consciousness itself, does not need another instrument of consciousness to illumine itself. There are certain system of philosophy where it says the Atman, the consciousness and bliss are the qualities of the Atman. Vaisheshika philosophy says that it is a guna, it's a quality of the Atman. When that goes, nothing is there. So the attribute, the attributes of the body and mind is superimposed on the Atman. That to refute that, he is telling that the Atman does, now this bright light is there. Do I need another light to illumine this? or to see that light. Like, for example, the sun is there. So we take a lamp, a candle, and go to see the sun. Where are you taking the candle? No, I want to see the sun. It's as ridiculous as that. So one infinite Atman is illuminating everything. There's no other. Consciousness alone. Atman alone is consciousness. It's consciousness itself. It's not a quality. That is what he's trying to tell. Awareness, knowledge, bliss are not the qualities of the Atman. It's the very nature of the Atman. It doesn't need anything else extra to it. By itself, it illumines everything. That's what. We say everything is illumined by the Atman. What illumines the Atman, if you ask? Mataji, what illumines the Atman? And you say, is there anything else that illumines Atman? That means to say, there should be something else that illumines the secondary consciousness. So this keeps on going. Infinite regress. That's what happens. The confusion arises. You need to stop somewhere. One which is self-effulgent. Nothing beyond it. Sa kashta sa paragatihi. That Purusha, that infinite Atman is the end. Nishidhya nikhilopadin neti neti ti vakyatah vidyadaikyam mahavakyai jivatma paramatmanoho. By negating all the upadhis through the help of scriptural statement. It is not this, it is not this. Realize the oneness of the individual soul and the Supreme Soul by means of the great Vedic aphorism. Just in the beginning of the class talk, I told you certain things we need to remember. Upadhi. Upadhi is a word, a very important aspect of Advaita Vedanta. What is Upadhi? Adjunct. What is it? An adventitious object which apparently influences something else to appear differently from what it really is. For example, a colorless crystal is there and we keep a red flower in front of it. So the redness, the red flower is Upadhi. The redness is the Upadhi of the crystal. By nature, crystal is crystal clear. It's colorless. But whatever color you give, the crystal becomes that color. So that color is the Upadhi of the crystal. Same way, the Atman, the consciousness, which is within all of us, our body, mind, intellect is the Upadhi of this consciousness within. So is the infinite consciousness, Brahman, universal consciousness, all pervading consciousness to it. This universe, this world is the Upadhi. I have a body. God has a body. What is God's body? This universe, the world. World is his body. I have a mind. He has cosmic mind. I have a subtle body. He has a subtle body. I have the Atman within is Brahman. So this sort of causal, gross, subtle, causal in the cosmic sense. Gross, subtle, causal in individual sense. That is microcosm and macrocosm, both way. In microcosm, I'm a jiva. In macrocosm, Ishvara. That's the difference. But the underlying reality behind is one pure, indivisible Atman. How? Huge waves, giant waves we see. Those who go for surfing, they know huge waves. And there are small waves too. The huge wave is the Ishvara, the God, the theistic God, one who creates, preserves, and absorbs back. So theistic God, Ishvara. And there are so many little waves, jivas. be. Sentient, insentient universe is the body of God. God is the soul within. So this is from the macrocosm. I have this body, this mind, and the ego sense, I am, and behind is the pure intelligence, pure consciousness, awareness, existence, sat. In a colloquial language, when a person passes away, we say, sat has passed, sat has gone. The reality behind this person has gone. It's such a colloquial language it is. It's, say, sat has gone out of it. Exist, what was true in it, the essence has gone out. And what remains is nothing but matter. Now comes a very important thing. We need to understand how Brahman, the infinite consciousness, Atman, the individual consciousness, are one and the same. This has to be known. And the Upanishad teaches us is through negative and affirmative language. Negative language and affirmative language, both are there. The negative ways is not this, not this. Now I want to realize my true nature. What's my true nature? Is this body real? I reason. No. When I was born, I was vulnerable. I was under the mercy of someone. A little bit heat and cold would have destroyed me. We are vulnerable even now also. A micro organism can kill us. That's different. But the body grows and we become subject to so many attractions. We are helpless. See? And the body grows, the more body is subject to disease. The Shadvikas, the 6 type of changes are there in the body. So I can never be that. I am not that. If my idea, my definition of my true nature is existence, reality, that which is changeless in the 3 phases of time. This idea I know, then I will start reasoning out. Am I this body? What's the meaning of my coming into existence and all of us being together, father, mother, husband, children, wife, slowly one by one, drifting away. All come together in the water and then drift away. So what's the meaning? We pose existential questions. We ask existential questions when we reason. Then if that doesn't fit in with this definition of reality, then I discard it. Discard it means I cannot throw this body. I will not give unnecessary importance to it. It will not be protecting the body, decorating the body, and to day and night following the rituals of the body will not be the primary concern of me. Yes, I need to be healthy. I need to survive, live, so that I can realize my art. That's it. Nothing more than that. So this sort of discrimination, so what happens? Life becomes simple. How much we have to do just to comply with the society? If we have this knowledge, that unnecessarily, we know some of the devotees are there. I've seen beautiful, wonderful devotees. Don't care. They don't care. They are with the spiritual life. So they're very simple. Life goes very simple. And how complicated it can go. No time to think the reality within us. And we are running behind the shadow, which is not going to be with me. And all my energy is spent in that. And that's the line of reasoning. Then I come to mind. Is the mind real? 15 years back, what I thought, I don't think myself to be. Today, my concepts have changed. Life changes. And our idea of the life, society, world, everything changes. It's constantly, the mind is changing. What I had few days back, what I was thinking, oh, no, that can't be. It changes. So anything that changes cannot be my real nature. So this is how we start discriminating. This is called not this. Then I'm not this body. Then I'm not this mind. In that way, I come at last. I come to a position. The mind acquires by this time. And there are other things also which later on the Vedanta will tell me how to change the texture of the mind, how to purify the mind, how to bring the subtlety of them. When the mind becomes subtle and pure and is constantly thinking on this reasoning or in this way of thinking or meditating on God or practicing concentration and ready. What we do actually in concentration when we start meditating, we try not to think of other things. We reduce the bundle of thoughts that are in the mind, minimum, and we confine it to the object of meditation. Through that way, we try to eliminate unnecessary thoughts, and the thoughts, when they are not fed, they die out slowly. And when the mind becomes subtle and has only one thought, that I am the pure self, I am the existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute. This is the only thought in the mind. That mind is so fine that it is so close to the reality. That mind is overpowered by reality, and that mind is dissolved. No mind, no duality, no universe, no ignorance. And what you become, you cannot express through word. You become what you were. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Knower of Brahman becomes Brahman itself. See, it's a language. When you have to communicate something, invariably duality comes in. You cannot escape it. That is why mystics are mum. They don't express. A mystical experience can never be expressed. If you can express and define it, it never becomes a mystical experience. You may give some ideas of it, like supposing if you ask him, how is the ocean? Ocean, vast water, the huge waves, or the sound of the waves. These are the explanation. If you want to see the ocean, go and stand there, go there, and you will see. So if you want to know what Atman is, all this what I said are only sound. If you want to know what truly you are, work on yourself, get rid of this obsession to the senses and body, and know yourself as the Atman. Dissolve your mind. You're one with reality. And what you yourself will know. Because Atman is consciousness itself. Awareness is it's illuminating. There's no darkness. And it's bliss itself. Life becomes a life of fulfillment. This is how the negative way of coming to the reality. Like Sri Ramakrishna gives the example, peeling of the onions. You peel the onion, the top one, and then there's another layer, like that. And finally, you see, there's nothing, actually. It's all layers. And together we say, oh, this is the onion. So in the same, it is not, when it comes to your own consciousness, it's not nothing is there. Allness. It's not nothingness of the Buddhist. It's the allness. It is Shunya. This is Purna. Shunya is zero. In Sanskrit, Shunya means zero, nothing. And zero also is fullness. So whether you call it in the language of negation, nothing, you call in the language of Upanishadic Purna, it's one and the same. The experience is the same. And there's a language of affirmation that is expressed through Mahavakyas, the great statements. Because of the ignorance, we always have this false identification. I never know that I am the pure consciousness. I always am thinking myself as, if you ask, who are you? I'll immediately say, I am a sannyasini of Sharda Math, Indian, Hindu. See, how many layers are there on the simple reality. I am pure consciousness, pure awareness. On that, so many things we dump and big heap. What? We are so and so. So this is the false identification of the simple reality. We are existence, conscious, bliss, absolute. Consciousness, bliss, absolute. Okay. Now the four great statements are there. He asked us to realize our oneness of the individual soul and the supreme soul by means of the great Vedic aphorism, the great Vedic statements. Ah, there. So we have the four Vedas, the Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva. These are the four Vedas. And there are Upanishads belonging to it. And these are the great statements, Mahavakya, the great statements. And I have been in the English translation. So in the Rig Veda, in the Aitariya Upanishad, the statement is Pragnanam Brahma. This consciousness is Brahman. The consciousness one which is confined within this body-mind complex is nothing but infinite consciousness, which is Brahman. So this consciousness is Brahman. Pragnanam Brahma. Consciousness is Brahman. In the second Yajurveda, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I am not this body, not the mind, not the intellect, nor the ego. I am that light or consciousness which is illuminating. I am Brahman. And the Samaveda, it has in the Chandogya Upanishad of the Samaveda, the great Mahavakya is Tattvamasi, that thou art, that thou art. And Atharva Veda, there are two Upanishads in that, Mandukya, Brihadaranyaka, both. In the Mundaka, it doesn't come. Mandukya. In the Brihadaranyaka also it comes. Mundaka, Prashna, and Mandukya are the three Upanishads. In Mundaka, it doesn't come. I am Atma Brahma doesn't come. And this is I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma. This Atma is Brahman. The self, the one confined within the, it all says the same ideology. The same idea is represented with all the four Vedas and the four statements. This is the, through this and how we do, let me take one example. Let's take Tattvamasi. This all has two words in it. See, Pragnana and Brahman is there. Okay? Then Aham Brahmas, Aham and Brahmasmi, two are there. And Tat, Tvam, both are there. And I am Atma, Brahma. So all two words are there. You see, one is the individual soul, another is supreme soul. One is the Atma, one is the Brahma. Identity of this is what has to know is that you immortal base plus Shrunvantu Vishwe Amritasya Putraha, the Rishi, when he realized his universal dimension, he said, he called out the humankind, listen, oh humanity. He didn't say, oh Indians, oh Hindus. No. Vishwe, universal reality. So he is addressing the whole humanity, the humankind. Amritasya putraha, O heirs of immortal bliss. I have known the ancient one who is beyond all darkness. And look at the boldness of the Rishi. He doesn't invite just the humanity to partake of his knowledge or bliss. He's inviting even the angels above. Aye dhamani, you who are in the higher spheres, you to listen, because that is also ignorance. Heaven is also an ignorance. So I have known the ancient one. That ancient means the eternal reality. beyond all darkness, tamasa parasta. And what's nature? Illuminate 1,000 sun, aditya varnam, tamasa parasta, beyond all darkness. Tameva viditva atimrityumeti. By knowing that reality alone, you will transcend death. Nanya pantha vidyati. There's no other way to illumination, liberation, to attain fearlessness. This is what the Upanishads wants us to. No, you are not a creature. You are the reality behind the creator also, let alone the creature. You are the reality even behind the creator. That is your true nature. This is what the Upanishads wants us to tell. So there are two things, that and thou. That thou what? That thou what? Thou means their meaning. Supposing somebody says, you are that, an ignorant person, me, I am Brahman, I am Atman, how can be? So you will easily take it for granted that the body, mind, intellect, this is what we are used to, this is what we know. When somebody asks me, my identity is only this. So naturally I will say. So that is why we should be very careful in knowing these words have two meanings. One is the outer meaning, what it is. There is an implied meaning. Two meanings are there. So just the word meaning, direct meaning. It's conflicting. It is not understandable. You will say, what she is telling, God knows what she's saying. I can't understand anything. You will say. But when we reason out, the consciousness behind this and the consciousness behind is one and the same. Just as I told you the example of the huge wave and the small little waves. What is behind this? The ocean. So the reality behind Tvam, the reality behind Tat is one infinite consciousness. Once when we understand this, then we shed our creatureliness. We shed our fear, and we become immortal. We become immortal. Bliss, awareness, and infinite existence. No more fear of death. No more fear of ignorance. No more fear of unhappiness. We fear. None of us want to be unhappy. Why? Our nature is bliss. We shrink from it. No one wants to think of ourselves as extinct. No, because we are existence itself. None of us want to be stupids because we are intelligent principle itself. That's our true nature. This is what these great statements tell, but lack of time, I don't want to go further. With this, we finish the 29 shlokas of Atmabodha. Thank you.
There's time for question answers. Those who are joining us via Zoom are welcome to ask questions too. Any questions?
Very subtle and very tough subject.
Sridharaprana, I really liked your talk. And I'd like to go back to that verse number 29. I have some confusion, and I'm hoping you could answer it for me.
Are you putting it, Robert? Or should I press it?
There you go. Like first, can you describe to me again what upadhis are? And if it's a description of your own characteristics or your traits, is what the first two lines are saying is by negating all your personal physical characteristics,
Yes.
you have a better idea of understanding your true nature.
True. That is. Upadhi, I told you, it's an adjunct. Upadhi's thing, reality, and expresses, shows itself as something else. That is called as Upadhi. So our body and our mind, our intellect, all these are Upadhi on the Atma. You are essentially spirit. You are essentially Chinmatra. That is why this Shankara, Buddha, all this, why they hold Chit. This is Chit. See, this finger and this only human beings can do. No animals can ever join this because humans are endowed with intelligence. Even chimpanzee can't do it. May have all, it can show you all the tricks, but even it can never do it. Chit. And in the last class we read, the consciousness, Brahman is all pervading, but it is reflected very clearly in the intellect. So we are endowed with this cerebral system, the cerebral system which can think, imagine, plan, memory. It's a great blessing. So all these things are possible only this. Nature has evolved this after when first came the evolution, the cosmic evolution, then came a living cell, then came little by little organisms. Finally, the nature evolved this cerebral system in which you have the capacity to think subjectively. No animal can think. No animal can think subjectively. You see, through reasoning, through imagination, through conviction, through reason is the best word. So we can separate ourselves and stand aside and think ourselves objectively. Don't we? We have the capacity to think subjectively, not anything, not a single creature in the created things in the universe. So that is why you have the capacity to negate. You can negate the characteristics or the attributes of your body, mind, intellect, and you know the reality through the scriptures, through the teacher's words. We go to the teacher. You cannot by yourself understand. Atman is, of course, existence, consciousness. So do you think you can just like that think, and I needn't have to think because Atman is always knowledgeable? No, you have to go through the proper course of discipline, practice spiritual practices, and get the capacity to negate that which is always is pouncing on you. The senses, the forces are pouncing, material forces are acting on me. To stand them, I should have this conviction that I am the pure spirit. This comes only for a creature which has got this cerebral system. That is humanity. That's the greatness of humanity. Man is the crown of creation. Why do we say that? Because we have this intelligence. We can discern what is real and what is unreal. This is what the Upanishad, that sentence is asking. Negate it. You reason it out. You know what is truth. You have got the definition of truth. And so you can. If that doesn't conform with your definition, reject it. In the, which is that book? That Ashtavakra Samhita. In the Ashtavakra it says, Vishayan Vishavat Tyaja. Yadi Moksham Ichchasi Tata. Oh child, if you want illumination, then shun the sense objects as like poison. So this capacity comes only to the human beings. To renounce or to hold on. This is the uniqueness, greatness of human. This is what the Upanishads know the reality, and you will be able to discriminate which is real and unreal, and discard what is not, and slowly get established in your true nature and be free. Never remain a creature. That is what the Upanishad is. Go transcend even the creator. That is the boldness of Upanishad. Because the reality behind the creator and you is the same. You cannot be a creator. Creator is creator. You cannot, the whole big mountain and a grain of sand, there is difference. No, from dualistic point, creator is creator. I am. But the reality behind the creator and me is one and the same. So if I can negate my upadhis, adjuncts, which I have superimposed on myself due to ignorance, due to the lack of discernment, if I think of myself as the body, mind, intellect, I have this capacity to deny them and stand, be in my true nature. If I can do it truly, really, negate my body and mind, what will happen? My conception of God also will change according to it. Evolution of nature and the conception of God will change. As I evolve, see, beautiful example Swamiji says. Supposing I'm standing here and there's a big screen separating me and you. You can't see me, neither can I see you. But there's a small hole through which I just can see a few faces, just a few faces I can see. Then if supposing the hole becomes big, and I can see more faces and more clearly. And supposing the curtain drops off, I'm face to face with you. So here, you didn't change, I didn't change. What changed is only the screen. The screen is the nature. So as the nature, you can divest the nature from yourself. Then you come face to face with reality and just you be. And reality is one homogeneous, one infinite non-dual. You don't need a mind to tell this is the reality. Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful example. Certain person wants to see the king. So another person is taking, okay, I will get an audience for you. Come on, let's go. So they're entering near the gate. And the gate itself, there is a man fully dressed, decorated, big person. Is he the king? Oh, no. Then we go. He goes into the main building. There is a guard there. Is he the king? Oh, no. And then goes further. And when he goes to the king, when the king is seated, he never asks him, is this the king? No. The very splendor of the king proves there's no need to ask. Is he the king? You will never ask. You're overpowered by the glory and the greatness of the king. The same way. Not this, not this, not this. When everything is dropped off, you are one with the reality. Then you don't need a body and mind to illuminate and say, this is Brahman. No, you're one with Brahman. Brahmavit, Brahmaiva bhavati. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. All is needed is eliminate what is not you. Know what you are through the scriptures, because we have no idea of what we are. The saints are there, scriptures are there to help us to know what we are. That is why we go. We have a directory. If you want to go to a certain place, we take it. Oh, you have got now GPS and all that. What do we need it? So because we do not know the destination, so we write it, and this is where I want to go, and it takes us and it guides us. Go this way, go this way. In this way, the scriptures are there. We know through the scriptures, I am divine. And scriptures tell, okay, do this way. Now we have done this. Now we have take a turn. Now you can just ignore this thing. Don't think about all the thoughts that come into your mind. Just ignore it. Just concentrate what you are. So, Mataji, when I sit for meditation, hundreds of thoughts comes. Where my Ishta, where my Atman went, I don't know. This is the problem of everybody. Then your guru will tell, just ignore. If you start thinking, oh, I'm getting, then they will get energy from you because you are the conscious entity. You are giving energy to it. So ignore the thoughts will die. The thoughts will raise in the consciousness. It stays for a while and it will die. But if you give importance to it, if you become aware of it, you are channelizing the energy, the awareness, and it becomes, oh, I'm somebody. Somebody comes, I don't even look at that person. What will that person do? He'll go away. Oh, I'm unwanted. So like the thoughts come, I don't give attention to it, it dies off. Instead, I try to concentrate on what I truly am. Okay, I give an idea. Om. For the meditation, the scripture says, oh, meditate on Om, meditate on the light. So this is the techniques it gives. And all is there only to get rid of this mind, which is the receptacle of time, space, and causation. So once that is gone, once we can have control over the mind, reduce its thought, make it finer, subtle, more light of the self is filtered in. That itself will give us tremendous strength. That is the way we reason and we negate, and then we get ourselves established.
We've got a question from John. Shunya was mentioned.
Mm.
Can it be said that shunyata in Buddhism is equivalent to Brahman in Advaita?
Yeah, that's what I said. The thing is, when you say shunyata, nothingness, how do you know it is nothing? There must be a positive intelligence to know that there is nothing. To know there's nothing, there should be an intelligent principle to know that there is nothing. Isn't it? So it's just a bit of the way it is expressed. That is why the Upanishad says, avang manasa gocharam. Truth is beyond mind and speech. You cannot articulate it, you cannot conceive, because articulation and conceiving the idea comes within the range of mind, and mind is a product of ignorance. Ignorance can never stand the knowledge. Atman is illumination, light, awareness, consciousness itself. And a mind can never boast of. A finite can never realize infinite. So what you do? You turn back. That is called as an renunciation. Turning back to the source is called as introspection. Turning inward, retreating our steps back to our source. That is called a spiritual life. So it almost means the same, but just that the way it is presented is different. Yes. From two sides. It's just how you express it. What Buddha meant by Shunyata is absolutely there is neither creation nor the created, nothing. From the standpoint of Brahman, absolutely there's no creation at all. Creation is from our side. That is why we have to explain. See, one of the very important point in the Advaita Vedanta is avidya, ignorance. Ignorance has great definition. And all our struggle is only with this definition. From the standpoint of Brahman, it's not one infinite existence. It is consciousness. It's calm, quiet, and peace. Nirvana. All the explanation is needed from this side of the scenario, from this side, from this perspective, not from the perspective of Brahman. And there is one infinite existence. There is nothing else other than it. No cosmos, any amount of cosmos, everything is shunya, nothing. One Sat Chit Ananda, infinite existence, absolute consciousness, absolute bliss. This is what is the essence of the whole of the cosmos, or any cosmos beyond our cosmos. There might be. So Brahman is beyond everything. And all the explanations is needed because we are trying to understand something transcendent from this side of the perspective, from this perspective. So we are trying our best to understand. As long as the mind becomes saturated with these ideas, and once the mind becomes constantly reasoning, when the mind becomes subtle, it just gets dissolved. In the first few shlokas before, I said it, kataka renuvat, like the fruit, kataka. When you bring the water from the Ganges, there are a lot of sediment in it. Then you rub this, there's a fruit called as kataka, and you put that juice in it, and all the sediment settle, and crystal clear, pure water says. So now, in the same way, this knowledge is like that kataka fruit. And we are reasoning and reasoning, so much sediments is there. What? So many thoughts are in the mind. So when the mind becomes finer and finer, subtler and subtler, and it becomes finer, pure means, no thoughts. And when it becomes subtler, the light of the Atman overpowers it. And that one idea which you had, I am Brahman, I am Atman, I am pure, I am the infinite. This idea, it just gets melted. It just gets dissolved. Even that also goes off. And what is there is there. Words cannot express. Silence, one. And you understand yourself. When Buddha attained, I have attained the fearlessness. I have attained the illumination. I have attained the infinite existence. That's what he said. And the proof is, he just could not contain his joy. See, if Atman was not bliss, if Satchidananda was not, how could he couldn't even just move his feet? He stood near the tree and he had not eaten anything. Days and days of austerities, only one meal he had from Sujata, the porridge, payasam. That was the only meal he had. And he went into meditation, and when he got the illumination, what the first opened are the doors to realization. And those who have faith, listen to me. And he was standing and standing, just, he couldn't contain the joy. It took time, 7 weeks for him to absorb the experience, that bliss. Then he went to another tree and he sat there. But we see when Bodha Gaya, you go, they will show you all this. That means to say, there is something positive experience, that is bliss. So you cannot say shunyam is nothing. There is something positive also. You become aware of everything and you're blissful. You're happy. Whoever comes in touch with you, they will be happy. They will be calm. They will be happy. When we see a great person, we feel happy, isn't it? If somebody goes and meets Dalai Lama, won't we be happy? We are so happy because he has in it that. So we feel happy. So existence, consciousness, and bliss, these three are one and the same reality. They are not the qualities, it's the nature of the Atma. Too late.
Today we dived deep into the philosophical work of Shankaracharya. Next Sunday, we'll be celebrating Shankaracharya's birthday. And there'll be talks by Ami Trivedi and Sridharaprana. If you're coming, please bring some sweets or savories to offer so we can share those after. Also, this week we've got the yoga class on Thursday from 10 a.m. And we had the spiritual evening discussion next Friday night led by Gachapanaji. Yeah, so the President Mataji of Shisharada Math, who just passed away, we'll have we'll be honoring her memory also as part of the function next Sunday. Following weekend, Gachapanaji will be in Adelaide, and Sridharaprana will be giving a talk on Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Week after that, that's Sunday the 26th, we will have Buddha's birthday celebration. And we're very honored to have our good friend, Walter Mason, giving a talk on that day. He's going to speak on sacred spaces and holy people in Buddhist Asia, a personal journey. Walter spent quite a bit of time in Vietnam and Cambodia for 2 places, and he's got a lot of interesting anecdotes to share. And we'll have, on that day, Gachapanaji will be giving the talk on Bodha and Advaita Vedanta. So a lot of good things coming up this month. So thanks everybody for attending in person and to those who joined us via Zoom.